not sure about you, but I find it quite puzzling and even a bit shocking that schools don't teach us about money. Sometimes I even feel like the system is designed that way to keep everyone running the rat race without even realizing it. In this video, I'll be sharing some of the very common shopping and money mistakes. We are experiencing some heavy inflation everywhere at the moment, so I feel like the topic of money is even more relevant now than ever. The first very common money mistake is making the assumption that what you see is always what you get. Now, money is a very relative thing, and it doesn't really tell you much unless if you give it a context. For example, a £5,000 handbag might mean the entire payslip to one person, but it might just be a small change to another person. So what I'm implying here is you really want to look at everything with a pinch of salt, because more often than not, you don't really get to see the whole picture. This is why trying to live somebody else's life without considering your own circumstances is never a good idea. I also want to add that looking rich doesn't always equate to being rich. They are of course not mutually exclusive, but they are not always a reflection of each other either. I've personally come across some very wealthy people who look quite modest, and I've also met a few who have very shiny things, but somehow they struggle to afford their medical bills. With social media especially, we are always so visually stimulated, and it has become so easy to aspire to the wrong things. For example, you might come across an Instagram picture of a very extensive designer handbag collection, and you might feel a sense of envy. However, chances are you might not actually want the handbag collection per se. Maybe what you really admire is the financial freedom that allows the blogger to do whatever they want. The irony is though, in order for most of us to get that financial freedom, what we need to do is to not have the same handbag collection. Another common money mistake is not investing early or making investing a priority. To be honest, I really don't think this is uncommon, even for people who make a very substantial living. For a long while, my understanding about money was work, spend, and maybe save a little, when really I should have been paying myself first. This is a very common saying in the world of personal finance. And in case you are wondering, paying yourself first doesn't mean buying yourself a Louis Vuitton handbag as soon as you get paid. It really means allocating a percentage of your income every month for your future self. Now, this can come in many forms, whether it is setting up a business, investing in a retirement plan, or creating different streams of incomes. Whatever you do, you're basically creating a better financial ground for your future self. The thing is though, instant gratifications can seem so much more appealing than waiting for some incentives in the far future. Well, I've personally done them both myself, and all I can say is I'm just really glad I came to my senses and chose the latter option. I also want to add that a big part of investing in our future is through investing in ourselves. Mr. Warren Buffett is famously quoted for saying, "The best investment you can make is in yourself." I feel like sometimes we overlook this because of the misconception that investing in ourselves always has to cost an arm and a leg. For example, I used to think adding values to myself was strictly about studying really hard and getting as many expensive qualifications as possible, but nothing is further from the truth. Adding values can mean so many things, and it can be as simple as having a healthy diet, keeping yourself hydrated, reading good books, and traveling. And here's a confession. I used to be a couch potato outside work. I really didn't know what to do with myself when I wasn't working. Luckily, a lot has changed in the last few years, and the magic formula is to simply allow myself to be more open to learning and exploring. On that note, I want to thank Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an amazing online learning community. There are thousands of classes about photography, filmmaking, art, journaling, and the list goes on. Every week, I try to take a class on Skillshare to stay inquisitive and inspired. Recently, I've been really interested in filmmaking and storytelling. One of the classes I took is Filming Scene Transition by Matty Brown. I find the class really practical and applicable because it's more about how to improvise with what I already have rather than buying the most expensive gadgets. Some of you might have noticed I've been experimenting with my videos in terms of editing, adding B-rolls, and making my introduction a bit more engaging. I'm really enjoying the learning process, and I feel like it's making this side passion a lot more exciting for myself too. If you want to try out Skillshare, I have a link down below, and the first 1,000 people to use it will get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership for 1 month. So make sure you take the opportunity to explore your creativity and invest in yourself. The next money mistake is something I was too familiar with at one point, and that is making the assumption that small expenses don't matter, but they absolutely do. Most of us tend to give more thoughts to the bigger spendings. For example, if you're considering to buy a Cartier bracelet, you might do a lot of research before going in the store. You might even drop by the store several times before making the purchase. But I don't think many of us practice the same level of intention with our smaller spendings. For example, I used to pay £25 a month for my phone contract. It wasn't huge money, so I just let it roll, but in actual fact, it covered a lot more than I needed. Eventually, I made the phone call, and now I'm paying about £12 a month. And you might say, this is trivial money. But you know what? Things really do add up. Besides, why pay more than we have to? So if you haven't already, I really recommend taking an hour or so to sit down and go through all your expenses and try to optimize as much as possible. Another common shopping or money mistake is treating luxury items as investment. I've said this before and I'll say it again, but most luxury handbags, fine jewelry or designer ready-to-wear are not investment. No matter how timeless and classic everyone says they are. Generally speaking, an investment is something that either increases in capital value or generates a cash flow. Although a lot of luxury items do go up in prices, for example, Chanel and Louis Vuitton have been really aggressive with their price adjustment. This is often not something that we, the consumers, benefit from. If you have sold any designer item yourself, you know selling can be time-consuming, challenging, and typically unprofitable. Now, I'm not suggesting we all should have a capsule wardrobe with only 20 items in it. That's not what I'm implying at all. The point I'm making here is luxury items are mostly consumers' products, and if we see them for what they truly are, we'll spend and shop quite differently. Now, some people have made money selling luxury items, but I feel like that is more the exception rather than the norm, especially if you take into considerations things like insurance, sale commission, purchase history, and your time. By the way, just a little disclaimer here. I do sometimes use the term investment on my videos, but never in the context of me relying on them to make me a profit. For me, investment pieces simply means I use them a lot and I can see them continue to serve me in many more years to come. Another common shopping or money mistake is feeling obliged to do special occasion shopping. Have you ever bought something just because it was your birthday? Maybe deep down you knew if you had waited a bit longer, you could have saved quite a lot of money, but you chose not to wait because it was your special day, and so the discount was the last thing on your mind. That was me not too long ago. I remember about 5 years ago, I went to a shopping mall with my husband on my birthday. After walking for hours, I still couldn't find a present for myself. Then I thought to myself, maybe I should just get one of my wishlist items. And long story short, I bought these Valentino Rockstar flats at full price. The thing is though, I knew these shoes tend to go on sale during the sale seasons, but I didn't care. I just wanted to bring something nice home that day. And you know what's funny? I actually didn't wear these shoes for a few months anyway after I made the purchase. By then, the sale season arrived, and you guessed it right, these shoes were included in the sale, which means I could have saved quite a bit of money if I was just a little bit more patient. Now, I'm not suggesting you should only do all your shopping twice a year on Black Friday and Boxing Day. I'm also not denying the fact that sometimes buying something nice on a special occasion can be a lovely way to mark the day. However, the trouble comes when we feel obliged to buy something or pay more just because it's a certain date on the calendar. I've personally done this too many times myself, and I now prefer to celebrate special occasions in the simplest ways possible. So those are some of the common money and shopping mistakes. Let me know if you enjoy these kind of videos. I personally really enjoy making them. In the past, I used to admire people because of the things they owned, and I feel like if I was just a bit more financially savvy, I would have done a lot of things quite differently. If you're new here, my name is Eileen, and on this channel, we are all about luxury minimalism and enjoying nice things responsibly. Thank you for being here today, and I will see you soon.